Welcome back to our special primetime special from Cleveland at the Republican National Convention. I'm Larry Menti. We're going to move to nearby Delaware because we have somebody that was on the Rules Committee. Richard Forsten is the parliamentarian for the Delaware delegation. He was also on the Rules Committee. Sir, thank you so much. I appreciate you doing this.
My pleasure.
The big story out of the Rules Committee, or going into the Rules Committee, I guess, was the fact that there was this Never Trump movement. And they were trying to change the rules, I guess, so they could potentially come up with another nominee. The reports are that it just fizzled out in the committee. Is that what happened?
You know, I think it fizzled even before it got to the Rules Committee. There were, at the end of the day, when we finally got to the vote on what's called binding, whether delegates had to vote as they were instructed or bound by their states or were free to vote however they wanted. At the end of the day, that got 12 votes out of 112 and just went nowhere.
And why is that? I mean, if you read in the media about what could potentially happen, it seemed like it had support.
Well, the media loves a story, and I think there was some genuine concern because the members of the Rules Committee are obviously free to vote however they want on the rules. But at the end of the day, there's a process, and that process was followed in terms of getting to Cleveland and having primaries. And I think the vast majority of members of the Rules Committee all felt that we had a set of rules and we weren't going to change them midway through the game. And if states elected their delegates or selected their delegates with the understanding that they were going to vote a certain way, for the Rules Committee then to basically say, nope, we're changing the rules, you can vote however they want, I think that would have really frustrated folks who voted on the delegates, and obviously would have frustrated a lot of people who cast their votes in the primaries.
Let's just assume for a second there ever was a strong Never Trump movement. Do you think that some people were convinced otherwise because of the way he's changed his tone? The more disciplined candidate, the teleprompter candidate? Is that possible?
I think that may have played into it for some. I think that at the end of the day, there were folks who just wanted somebody else and were frustrated their candidate didn't get selected. I think there were some people who believe, wrongly I think, but believe that Trump is not a good candidate. And then there are some who I think, found themselves persuaded that as he became, I'll say, more experienced and polished, a lot of their concerns melted away. But I really don't think there was ever a lot of support, at least in the Rules Committee, for rules changes to throw it open to the convention.
There is an ugly backdrop to the Republican National Convention and the Democratic Convention coming up the following week, and that is what happened in Dallas, what happened with two black men in Baton Rouge and in Minnesota, and then the killing of police officers in Baton Rouge. Do you have any concerns about what could happen during this convention on the streets?
Well, I think you have to be concerned anytime there's a large gathering like this about protests, but we had extensive security when I went to Minneapolis in 2008. We had a lot of security in 2012 in Tampa. There's a lot of security now, and I have confidence that with so many police and on the streets that, I'll knock on wood, but I'll say we'll be fine.
Thank you. I appreciate you spending the time. I do. Richard Forsten is the parliamentarian for the Delaware delegation. He's also on the Rules Committee, and as you heard, he believes the Never Trump movement never was. That wraps up our special edition of Jersey Matters, but also we expanded to Delaware. I'm Larry Menti. We'll see you again tomorrow night.